At the dawn of the 19th century, Chinese economic trade with Western countries was governed by a monopoly system, concentrated in the southern coastal city of Guangzhou, better known in the Western world as Canton. Within the Canton system, as it is typically referred to, Western traders were restricted to an area outside the walled city of Guangzhou, where they were permitted to maintain only temporary residence from the months of October to March, that is, the trading season. All trade had to be conducted with state-designated agents, known in English as kohong. During the off-season, traders would have to withdraw themselves and their property, traveling either all the way back home or, in certain cases, to temporary residence in other colonial outposts in the region, notably Portuguese-controlled Macau. In the delegation sent by the King of England in 1793 under Lord Macartney, the goal was to change this trading system, to open a new and quote-unquote liberal and free trading relationship, which would permit the British to store goods and establish a permanent embassy. The term they began to use increasingly was that of liberalism, meaning trade unfettered by what British traders and economic theorists of the time began to refer to as artificial barriers to forces they believed should be governed instead by so-called free markets. Macartney was able to hold an audience with the Qianlong Emperor, albeit after a series of diplomatic tensions over proper ceremony. Ultimately, however, the delegation failed. It was told to Macartney that the Qing had no need of its industrial manufactures, its textiles, or its technological contrivances. The same could not be said of British demand for Chinese goods, however. Just as British and European society was consuming ever larger quantities of sugar from the New World, consumption habits that drove the expansion of the transatlantic slave trade, so too were these societies purchasing ever larger quantities of Chinese tea, as well as silk, porcelain, and more. This frenzy of British consumption of Chinese goods drove up a large trade imbalance, with silver flowing out of Europe in great quantities and into the treasuries of the Qing. If British textiles were not enough to attract Chinese buyers, let alone to reverse the balance of trade, another commodity far more insidious was opium.